Hello everyone, this is Indie Pride, and welcome to Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times. This is the beta version for a submod that is planned to be released before April 28th, when Total War Warhammer launches officially, and there are a host of new factions, new units, and campaign improvements, and the campaign map itself is massive and absolutely gorgeous. I'll be covering all the new additions in detail later on, but first I wanted to show off some of the new factions on the battlefield, and what better way to do that than with a Lizardmen and Skaven multiplayer battle. Yes, both of those factions have been included and are in multiplayer. Lots of new content coming from this mod soon. Hope you guys enjoy. Something stirs deep in the jungles of Lustria. The Lizardmen march against their hated enemies, Clan Pestilens. Chosen from the largest and strongest of the Saurus to protect their slain masters, the Saurus Temple Guard are a living shield that defiantly protects their ancient masters from harm. They're legendary warriors. Twice the size of a Saurus, the Kroxigors are angry slabs of raw muscle and pure strength. Huge charge bonus in this mod and great melee stats. They'll be the rocks upon which the Skaven hordes will break. Saurus, the backbone of any Lizardmen army, these core troops provide the Lizardmen with a brick wall of infantry that is extremely difficult to crack. And shambling into view now, I still can't quite believe it, one of the best models for any Medieval 2 mod or any official unit I've ever seen. Near unstoppable, the Stegadons shrug off spears and arrows as if they were flies, ton of hit points, large AoE attack, they're a nice tanky threat on the field, and have a gorgeous model. I can't say it enough. Big props to Remy, who apparently created it from scratch. Behind them, the Cold One Cavalry, Saurus warriors mounted on Cold One Knights. Amazing model, but unfortunately the lance bug where they don't drop it on the charge is still there, and it's still been present there since 1.51. But behind them we got the Skinks, fast and agile and good at soaking up damage for the Lizardmen Army. Of all the diabolical wonder weapons of the Skaven, none is quite as notorious as the Screaming Bell. It is from these unholy altars that the Greyseers preach their plans of total domination in the name of the Great Horned Rat, will give a nice morale buff to all Skaven nearby, and causes fear to enemy units who approach. Moving up now, two Poisonwind Globadier weapon teams from Clan Pestilens. These units throw poison gas with a huge AoE, capable of utterly demolishing 1 HP units in a matter of seconds. Also got some Ratling Gunners, very cool sound design and particle effect upgrade in this mod in particular. They will tear units apart if given time to fire into a flank. Clan Rats and Slave Rats moving up now. Hordes and hordes of those, they're going to be functioning just how you would expect them to. Horrible morale, subjected to tons of friendly fire, but they will meet shield very well. Plague Monks of Clan Pestilens, driven into battle by their frenzied faith. Disease-encrusted blades, 2 HP unit, quite a solid special infantry unit for the Skaven. And some Albino Guard, the elite Stormvermin of the Under Empire, personally selected to guard warlords and Greyseers of significant importance. They're going to be tough to cut through, and some more Stormvermin moving up now. The fighting elite of the Skaven warlord clans. Decent armor, strong, and armed with deadly halberds. In the rear, some Skaven slaves. Those are the builds for both armies. Let's get into the replay. I'm playing as the Lizardmen today. We've got a beautiful Lustrian jungle we're about to mess up with some Skaven blood. Get a good look at those sexy Temple Guard and some Kroxigors and the rest of my Lizardmen army, my army setup, and my deployment. My opponent today will be Tom Doof, playing the Skaven. He's one of the mod creators for Beginning of the End Times. Really cool dude. Has spent a lot of his own time and money on getting models in the game and making stuff work. So big props to him and the rest of the mod team. Look at those Stegadons. Seriously, that model is incredible. I still cannot get over it. Let's take a good look at the Skaven army as it's approaching. Bunch of Skaven slaves and rat ogres. I did forget to include them in the army deployment. Those guys are going to be a problem. Many HP, huge charge bonus. They're going to work a lot like the Kroxigors will. And he is charging right at me. So my deployment is pretty simple. I'm going to get my Temple Guard into melee and get some charges up the center with my Kroxigors. Look at them just charge in there and throw a bunch of Skaven up into the air. Temple Guard going in, and I also got a Cold One charge off into some Skaven slaves. Need to pull out quickly. And you can see the Skaven slaves are already routing. That's exactly what you'd expect from them. They're going to run in, take a charge bonus, and run the hell away, and then come back later on. Stegadons up the center, causing havoc. Lots of fear in the Skaven army already, but those are not the important units. He spent like 500 talents on each one of those. On the flanks, got my Cold Ones moving in now, some Skinks, lots of Skinks, and he is eviscerating this unit. with a group of Poisonwind Globadiers. That weapon team, huge AoE when they throw that Poison Wind in, and they can, against a 1 HP unit, they can destroy a unit in seconds. So he's doing a lot of damage to my skinks. Not the most important unit, of course. They are my meat shields, but I want to tie down those Poisonwind Globadiers very quickly. Make sure they stop firing, because if they shoot into my Kroxigors or my Saurus, I'll be having a very bad day. Kroxigors just causing so much panic in the Skaven lines, in the middle of some Stormvermin and some Skaven slaves, doing lots of damage there. It looks so awesome. And the Stegadon, look at how bloody it's already gotten. I love that, actually. That looks so cool. The blood on the Stegadons looks really good, but I am just trying to get some hammer and anvils and some flanking charges off. Screaming Bell in the rear of the army, just trying to buff up the Skaven troops and stop them from routing. And over on this side, I've got more Stegadons moving in. Let's see if they can get a good charge off into some of his lower tier units. I think he has some, yeah, he has just some clan rats and slave rats out there in the back. But I did do a nice little flanking move here. Lots of my skinks and Kroxigors over on his right flank, just kind of overwhelming that flank, while my center holds it down with the Temple Guard and some of my Saurus warriors. Fighting some clan rat pikemen right now. Temple Guard should have no problem winning that engagement at all. But it's the weapon teams that I really have to worry about. Haven't seen the Ratling Gunners yet. I was looking for them during the battle, and I was having a really hard time finding them. But they're going to be a problem when they start opening up into my guys. So I was still looking for them, still haven't found them yet. Stegadons charging in through some stuff. Clan Rat's not going to have any hope, they just break and run. Again, what you would expect from them. But the Stormvermin and the Albino Guard in the center, especially with the Rat Ogres, are definitely giving me some fits. But I am able to tie them down, and my army does have better morale across the board. Ratling Gunners shooting into the flank now. They're actually shooting into some Kroxigors in the back there. Listen to that sound. Look at that, those tracers. That green shot looks so cool. I love what they did with the Ratling Gunners in this. 1.6, they did have Ratling Gunners, but they were kind of, they had a weird sound animation, they had a weird sound, and the animation kind of looked goofy. This looks way, no disrespect to the 1.6 team, of course, but this animation does look way better in my opinion. Stegadons moving into the rear, going to get a nice charge into the back of some Stormvermin, but we'll see. It's not the charge bonus so much for the Stegadon. One of them is going to die, actually. Going to get stabbed by some clan rats. The charge bonus, it does do quite a bit of damage, but it's more the AoE attack that's more important. As the Ratling Guns shoot into the flank, you see how much friendly fire that was? Tons of friendly fire from the Ratling Gunners right there, but they are doing some damage. And the Stegadons have a nice AoE attack that can kill about 10-15 guys in a single attack if they do it right. So charge bonus can kill some guys, but they're very slow and a little bit wonky when you're charging around with them. Poison Winds, oh god, they are just racking up the kills against my skinks. So much damage there. But incoming charge from the Stegadons, oh, right through those slave rats, and that is probably going to rout that entire block of slave rats right there. Ratling Gunners firing into the back of my Temple Guard, starting to rack up a lot of kills, and I started to notice it, and then all of a sudden my Temple Guard just started dropping like flies. He's getting some really good shots off there. That automatic fire coming in, just wrecking my guys. Look how fast they're dropping. They lost like 30 guys in that volley. And he's going to overlap with some of his Albino Guard that were, I believe, defending his Screaming Bell. He took them off and just sent them into melee. And those Stormvermin in particular are going to be a problem for my men. My lizards, I should say. And I got some more Temple Guard moving into a nice flanking position. Should be able to charge into the rear of all these Stormvermin and these clan rats that are over here. Do have a Stegadon kind of tying up that entire engagement. He does have rat ogres in there as well. Those are going to be really hard for even my Temple Guard to cut through. Temple Guard right now actually kind of have underwhelming stats. They're good. They can definitely beat Skaven, but Lizardmen aren't quite finished yet, so the stats for some of these factions still need to get reworked. Temple Guard, when it's finished, will have more HP and better melee stats than they currently do. But Kroxigors and my Saurus in general doing quite well. Bounce bar shifting in my favor for sure. I've been winning a lot of my engagements, and one of the things I did was I sent one of my Cold One cavalry units to hunt down all those routing slaves so they couldn't come back into the fight. Just lost another Stegadon, starting to lose a lot of those very tanky units, which is not a good thing for me. Things could start shifting in his favor if I lost all my Stegadons, because I do need them. Does have some more Ratling Gunners shooting in there. They shoot out of their face, which looks a little bit funny. But seriously, the animation for that looks so awesome. It's really cool. Shooting in the flanks of my Kroxigors there. But yeah, I am definitely taking the upper hand in this engagement. A lot of the Skaven are starting to rout, but the Rat Ogres and the Stormvermin still holding strong right there in the middle of that Screaming Bell. Lots of guys just, even the Clan Rats are fighting for a long time right next to the morale buff from the Screaming Bell. So I'm going to have to cut these rats down one by one, maybe get some nice tail flaps with the Stegadons and kill some guys over there. Skinks tying down some more slave rats, preventing them from coming back into the fight, getting rear charges off on some of my more important troops. The Skinks are going to be able to win that engagement, and yeah, over here in the back, got my cold ones taken care of. All of these routing units make sure they don't come back to the fight. The only good rat is a dead rat, and yes, they are just slaves, but preventing them from coming back to the field is important because those troops coming back, just getting a rear charge off on my 1 HP Temple Guard or Saurus Warriors, they can be a problem. Even units with really crappy stats in Medieval 2 can still get kills if they're charging in from the rear, so definitely don't want to have them come back. He's got a unit of Stormvermin that are just kind of sitting around. He was actually playing with his UI off, which was an interesting decision. I think a little bit later on in our play session, he decided that wasn't really worth it. It's very hard to micro in Medieval 2 when you can't see your unit's flags. So yeah, that was... I told him just put the unit flags on, put your UI on, that will help you a lot. But anyway, we're just showing off some really cool gameplay here with the Rat Ogres in the center. They're just throwing up a bunch of my Skinks and my Saurus Warriors. Got the Grayseer mounted below the Screaming Bell. Just really cool looking units here. And Stegadon in a great flanking position, going to try to get a AoE attack off in the rear of the Stormvermin. One of them's going to go down. I've lost most of my Stegadon at this point, but his general's going to go down as well. And Skaven are a faction that has morale problems, so losing the gen, not a good thing at this point. It's just going to be cleaning up. Oh yeah, you saw that. That killed like 10 Stormvermin right there when he moved its head. So yeah, I mean, balance war way in my favor. But yeah, I'm going to be able to clean this up. But for those of you guys who don't know, Cold One Knights and Cold Ones in general, right now, I believe their animations are tied to camels from Medieval 2, but the mod creators have been having some trouble figuring out how to make them drop their lances on the charge. So that has been the biggest bug with Cold Ones in general, and one of the reasons why Dark Elves aren't an amazing faction on Call of Warhammer is that the Cold Ones don't drop their lances on the charge. So with cavalry units, it's very important for units to be able to drop their lances, and that's where all the damage on the charge comes from. So they're going to be trying to work out that little bug. I'm sure that will make a lot of people happy once the Cold One Knights and Cold Ones in general start doing better. But yeah, that'll get fixed soon enough, I think. And in this battle, I'm just cleaning up the remnants of the Skaven Army. Lots of them starting to rout here. Big block of them just routed. Kroxigors did so much damage in melee there for me. And the Rat Ogres are just going to try to survive and take as many Saurus Warriors as they possibly can. But yeah, the Lizardmen Army was too much. The fact that their Temple Guard and their Stegadons cause fear made the Skaven hordes rout even faster than they normally do. Look at that charge coming in. Yeah, that is so awesome, dude. Just a big old Triceratops running through the middle of your lines. Stormvermin not going to be able to stay in melee combat for too much longer. That AoE attack should finish off the rest of them very soon. But hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Seriously, Lizardmen have been done very well. They certainly don't have their whole army book in the mod yet, but there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon for this mod. I'm super excited for the official release, and there will be a ton more replays from it coming soon with a lot of the new factions that you guys haven't seen on a Medieval 2 mod before. So great introduction to Lizardmen and Skaven in multiplayer. Really cool stuff on the field. Hope you guys enjoyed that battle, and we can look at the kills here. Not the most lore-friendly army, of course. Skaven with the max 20 unit cap in Medieval 2. Hard to bring a horde army and still spend all your money. But our armies were roughly the same size. And that's what happens with the weapon crews. Did quite a bit of damage. My Stegadons did quite well. Almost 100 kills on each one of them. Kroxigors did decent. Temple Guard did well. Good stuff. Lizardmen are awesome. See you all next time.